Good evening, committee members. My name is Jeff Bengilly. I serve as the Director of Community Development here in the city of Oxnard. This item is regarding a second amendment to agreement number A8418 and a first amendment to agreement number A8424, both for development plan check services. The first agreement with M6 Consulting, Inc., agreement A8418, provides for on-call development plan check services. Including the First Amendment, this agreement has a total contract amount currently of $2 million and will expire February 1st of 2025. What's before you in this agenda item is the Second Amendment, which will increase the total contract amount to $3.1 million, which represents an increase of $1.1 million. And we're also asking that the term of the agreement be extended by 2 years. The second agreement on this agenda item is with CSG Consultants, Inc., agreement number A8424, and that's also for development plan check services. This is the first amendment to that agreement, which will increase the total contract amount to $1 million. That represents an increase of $500,000, and we're also asking that the term be extended by an additional 2 years. As you may recall, we've been before this committee and council before for the original contracts and for a first amendment with M6. This is driven by building and engineering division's drive to decrease project review timelines. They had significantly increased post-COVID, where we had the inefficiencies left over from COVID and the backlog, in addition to some staffing vacancies that occurred shortly thereafter. We have had and are grateful for the additional budget resources provided by council. And the main way we've been implementing them in regards to this item is by consultant plan review services. And as I mentioned, we've also been filling vacancies, and we have also provided additional staffing. I'll talk about that a bit more later in this presentation, but we have been making significant progress. As you are aware, and you can see from some of these photos, there's quite a bit of construction activity here in the city of Oxnard. The image in the bottom left is an earlier version of the navigation center here. And the photo on the right is an older image, still a good one, of the Amazon facility while it was being constructed. We are seeking to continue our use of consulting services to maintain the improvements we've achieved thus far, which I'll talk about here in a moment, and to continue our efforts to reduce project timelines. We have an ongoing customer service goal of providing that service in a more efficient and reduced timeframes to our customers. This helps remove barriers to businesses trying to expand and retain staff, and attracting businesses to the city, in addition to the residents and homeowners trying to add ADUs and to support our housing goals here in the city. Thus far, we have filled all vacancies within the building and engineering division in the last few budget cycles, and last budget cycle, we were provided a new senior plan check engineer position, which we have filled about 9 months ago. That has been made a huge impact on our efficiency in the building and engineering division. As I've said before in other presentations, our long-term business model is to use predominantly in-house staff to perform a majority of the work, whether it's plan checking, inspections, or any of our services. However, we have found ourselves in need of leaning on consulting plan check in the last few years. And we still need those services to manage the high workloads that we have and to keep our plan check turnaround times within acceptable limits. One of our milestone dates was back in September of 2022, when we had both contracts in place, and we're starting to just get all the task orders and send a lot of work out to consultants. Our snapshot in time back then showed that we had, again, this is September of 2022, We had 469 projects in our queue for building plan check. Um, since that date, as of the date this presentation was written, that number is down to 210. And that number is never going to be zero. We always have plan checks in the queue, so it fluctuates up and down. But it's our goal is a steady state of somewhere around 200 projects in the queue with our in-house staff and some use of consultants. We are able to average 50 to 70 projects being completed each week. During that same time frame, again around September of 2022, another metric we use is the number of projects that take more than 30 days to complete their plan review. That number has dropped from 205 down to a current number of 31. Now, larger projects like new apartment buildings and new commercial, industrial, or large infill single-family homes, we can't do those in less than 30 days. So a certain number of projects are expected to take more than 30 days. But to see that number drop from 205 projects in our queue taking more than 30 days to now a little over 30 projects is a reflection that we are servicing our community more efficiently, especially the smaller, more time-sensitive projects, particularly accessory dwelling units. This number indicates that we are being more effective and efficient in achieving those results. Consultants currently are providing plan check services for about 30, maybe 35% of this total number of projects that we review. However, those are generally the larger and more complex projects. So although it's only 30 to 35%, they are the more time-consuming and more costly projects to plan check. However, that is the niche that we have found best suits our consultants, is to take the larger, more complicated projects where they can focus on them away from the day-to-day distractions and provide a good quality service for us. And moving forward, though, we will start bringing some of those larger projects back in-house as our workload and staffing is stabilized. Specifically in regards to M6 Consulting, again, Agreement 8418, we began utilizing their services in March of 2022, and we began using their services for supplementing our building inspections in November of 2023. Also, the Oxnard Fire Department began using M6 for consultant plan check services for their fire plan checks in June of 2023. They had a key staff vacancy that necessitated that, and M6 was capable and able, ready and willing to step into that role. As of July of 2024, Community Development and Oxnard Fire Departments had utilized about 1.4 million in services from M6, and we have task orders in place for an additional 445,000. Thus, over 90% of the current contract of $2 million has been used or is encumbered. This second amendment request for M6, as stated before, will increase the agreement by $1.1 million. That will yield a total agreement amount of $3.1 million. Again, that also extends the agreement by 2 years. We anticipate utilizing $350,000 per year for building plan check services and $200,000 per year for fire plan check services with this one consultant, M6, again, Agreement 8418. That's over the requested 2-year extension of this agreement. So that works out to $550,000 per year over the 2 years, equates to a $1.1 million increase. Would also like to point out that our ongoing implementation of the Tyler EPL, also known as Intergov software, is ongoing. We anticipate a go-live date in late spring of 2025. That does absorb quite a bit of staff time to participate in the development and implementation of that software. And so a portion of the anticipated building plan check consulting need is based on what we assume will be some additional plan check work needing to be sent out for this next 12-month period or so while we are in the final implementation stages and refining the new software and getting used to it and adjusted to it after the go live date. The second consultant mentioned here in this agenda item, CSG Consultants, again, Agreement A 8424. We started utilizing them again at the same time frame as March 2022, the same time frame as the other consultant, M6. And as of July of 2024, community development had used approximately $330,000 in services from CSG, and we have task orders in place for an additional $167,000. So at this point, over 99% of the current $500,000 contract has either been used or is encumbered. We anticipate utilizing $250,000 per year in building plan check services by CSG over the requested 2-year extension of this agreement, which works out to a total increase of $500,000. So again, this with CSG Agreement A 8424, this is the first amendment request, increases the amount by $500,000 for a total agreement amount of $1 million and extends the agreement by 2 years. There will be no financial impacts associated with this agenda item. All the expenditures for professional services under these agreements will be funds that are budgeted and authorized by task orders or otherwise specifically appropriated by council. Generally, these are all budgeted items. The recommendation is that the Community Services, Public Safety, Housing and Development Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute the following amendments to the existing agreements. First, the second amendment to Agreement A 8418 with M6 Consulting Incorporated for on-call development plan check services to increase the agreement by $1.1 million for a total agreement amount of $3.1 million and extend the agreement by 2 years. And secondly, approve and authorize the mayor to execute the first amendment to Agreement A 8424 with CSG Consultants, Inc. for on-call development plan check services to increase the agreement by $500,000 for a total agreement amount of $1 million and extend the agreement by 2 years. That's the end of this presentation. I will be available if there are any questions.